Hello, boys and girls. I thought we would start reading a mystery book together. The one I chose is called The Case of Hermie and the Missing Hamster. I know that when we were back in school, we did some mystery work, reading a book with Linda and discovering what was in the mystery box. So I thought this book would be a really fun thing to do. So, it is a chapter book, and chapter books are a little bit different than picture books. Chapter books have different sections in them, and when you open up and you go into the front cover, you see that they're all different numbers, and this one has chapters 1 through 12. So each chapter has a separate title, and when you read the title, it tells you what that chapter is going to be about. So I thought that we would read a couple chapters together, and then we can look at what the characters are, who the characters are, what the problem is, and what the setting is. So, the name of this book is called The Case of Hermie, the Missing Hamster. That's the title. And the author is down here, James Preller, and it is illustrated by R.W. Alley. So get cozy. I'm going to read, and when there are pictures, I'll be sure to turn it towards you. Chapter 1. Jigsaw Jones' Private Eye. It was Sunday afternoon, 4:36 p.m. I was in my office on the dirty side of town. Okay, actually, I was in my treehouse in the backyard, but it had a wooden sign that read office. And it was dirty, but that's no big deal. When you're in my line of work, you get used to all the dirt. No, I don't make mud cakes for a living. I'm a detective. For $1 a day, I make problems go away. I was working on my new Life in Jurassic jigsaw puzzle. It wasn't going great. Okay, it was going crummy. My dog Rags yapped below. I told him to be quiet. Rags kept on barking. It was one of those days. Suddenly a voice called out, "Hey, Jigsaw, are you up there?" My next-door neighbor, Wingnut O'Brien, climbed the treehouse ladder. His real name was Timothy, but everyone called him Wingnut because of his ears. They were 3 sizes too big for his head. Wingnut didn't mind his nickname. In fact, he liked it. Wingnut was proud of his oversized ears. They made him feel special. Go figure. I thought they made him look, I don't know, like a wingnut. "What are you up to?" Wingnut said. "Oh, about 10 feet, I answered. Wingnut looked down. "Oh, yeah," he said. Wingnut was 6 years old. Now here is a picture of him climbing up into his treehouse. And there's Rags down below. So this is Wingnut, and that's Jigsaw Jones. Wingnut was 6 years old, a year younger than me. He wore blue jeans, a hockey shirt, and a frown. "Listen, Jigsaw, I've got a problem," Wingnut said. "I make problems go away," I answered, "but it'll cost you. You know my rate. I get $1 a day." Wingnut's eyes started to water. "Oh, brother." I handed him a box of Kleenex. In this line of work, you see a lot of tears. It pays to keep Kleenex around, especially if you don't have the stomach to watch somebody slobber all over his new hockey jersey. Wingnut looked at me with sad, pitiful eyes, and between sobs and sighs, he said, "Hermie's gone." Hermie was Wingnut's golden hamster. It looked like this might be a job for Jigsaw Jones. Business had been slow, and I needed the cash. Puzzles don't grow on trees, you know. So I've been solving problems in my neighborhood and at school ever since kindergarten. I was in 2nd grade now, in Miss Gleason's class. But some things never change. They are always problems: missing cupcakes, stolen baseball mitts, and lost hamsters. There will always be a need for me. Jigsaw Jones' Private Eye. Chapter 2. And if we go back, the name of chapter 2 is called A Slithery Suspect. Let me go back to the beginning of the book, and here it is. Chapter 2, A Slithery Suspect. I wonder what this is going to be about. Maybe you can make some predictions based on the name of the chapter, A Slithery Suspect. I nodded toward an empty glass. Wignut dug into his pockets. He dropped in 2 quarters, 2 dimes, a rubber band, and 5 nickels. You're a nickel short, I pointed out. Wignut's face got all squinched up, like he was going to cry or something. You owe me, I said. I took out my detective journal. It was a big fat notebook. I never left home without it. I turned to a clean page and wrote the following words. Underneath, I made 2 neat rows. On top of one, I wrote suspect. On the other row, I wrote clues. Now, I've done the same thing over here. I'm going to show you as soon as I can turn this around. Right there. I think you can see. It says suspects and clues. And I've written some names of suspects and some clues. So, we're going to keep reading to find out who we can add to our list of suspects. Suspects are people or animals in a mystery that will help solve the problem. So he wrote suspects and he wrote clues down. Let's see who the first suspect might be. Let's see. Then I took out my colored markers and I drew a picture of a hamster. Ugh, it looked like a rock with eyes and a tail. Wignut waited. I told him that this looked like a tricky case. Before we go any further, I said, let me call my partner. Wait here. I ran into the house and called Mila. Luckily, she was home. Meet me at the office, I told her. We have got a case. Don't forget to put rags inside, Mila reminded me. Mila was allergic to rags. Anything with fur made her sneeze, so she tried to stay away from cats and dogs. Do you remember who Rags is? Rags is Jigsaw Jones's dog. Mila lived in the corner, and we'd been friends since we were in diapers. That's a picture. She worked with me on all the big cases. I paid her 50 cents a day. Mila demanded equal pay for equal work. It's a lot of money, but she was worth every cent. Mila was over in 10 minutes. And when Mila climbed up the ladder, she was humming the short vowel song. We learned it in Miss Gleason's class last week. And Mila sang, where is a short A? Where is a short A? Here I am. Here I am. I'm in a hat rack, cracker jacks, and fat cats. Ah, 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 ah. Short A. Where is short E? Where is short E? Here I am. Here I am. I am in a red bed. Jelly, eggs, and jet sets. Eh, 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 eh. If Mila wasn't humming something, she was probably singing. I didn't mind. She had a pretty voice. We all sat together on the floor of the office. I poured lemonade and told Mila about the missing hamster. Mila was all business. When did you see Hermie last? She asked. Yesterday morning, Wignut sniffled. He was in his cage with Sammy. Sammy's my other hamster, happily gnawing on a piece of cardboard. How do you know he was happy? I asked. Wignut shrugged. I don't know. He just had a happy face. Wignut was confused. Does it matter? Everything matters. A mystery is like a jigsaw puzzle. You can't put it together until you have all the pieces. Show me, I repeated. What exactly did Hermie look like yesterday? Wignut half closed his eyes. He puffed out his cheeks. He tightened his lips and poked out his 2 front teeth. I have to admit it. Wignut looked like a happy hamster. Okay, a happy hamster with really big ears. Thanks, Wignut. I said you never know. That may be the missing piece we need to solve the mystery. Mila twisted her long black hair and sighed. She asked Wignut, did Hermie have any enemies? Wignut thought for a minute. No, he said, everybody loves Hermie, even Jake, and he's a teenager. Most teenagers don't like anything. Jake, better known as Jake the Snake, was Wignut's big brother. He was 14 years old and a little strange. People called him Jake the Snake because he loved snakes. I mean, this guy really loved snakes. He had snake books, a snake t-shirt, snake posters, but most important of all, he had a pet snake, a rosy boa. It was pretty big. Sometimes Jake brought it outside, wrapped around his shoulder. It was long, smooth, and totally gross. To be honest, I didn't really like snakes, not even from a distance. Under the word suspects, I wrote Jake. So, I'm going to pause this for a minute, turn the camera over here, try to show you. There's suspects, and I wrote Jake. He's the first suspect that they're coming up with. Maybe he had something to do with the missing hamster. Think hard, I told Wignut. Would anyone or anything want to harm Hermie? Wignut shrugged his shoulders. Well, I guess an owl would love to eat Hermie. He'd make a nice meal. Ugh, disgusting, Mila said. Any other enemies, I asked. A cat, maybe. And he thought some more. A snake? A snake? Did you say snake? Wignut looked worried again. You don't think? Jake's snake is only a suspect, I told Wignut. You'll need to come over to your house and look for clues. Okay, but it's almost dinner time and I can't have any friends over. Here's the picture of the 3 of them coming up with suspects. And again, if you go back to our board, Jake's snake, owl, or cat are all suspects. Maybe they had something to do with the missing hamster. Sure, Wignut, I patted him on the back. Maybe tomorrow after school. Don't worry, pal. We'll find Hermie. Wignut left us alone in the office. What do you think? I asked Mila. I think that we need to do some research. About hamsters, I asked. Yes, she said. And about the eating habits of snakes. So, that is the end of chapter 2. Chapter 3 is called A Matter of Life and Death. I wonder what that one's going to be about. You could take a minute to think about it, see what predictions you can make, see what this chapter is going to be about. On Monday morning, I was standing in the rain under a bright pink umbrella. Don't laugh. I couldn't find my Batman umbrella, so I had to borrow my sister's pink one. And boy, I didn't like that color. But those are the breaks when you're the youngest. I've got 3 older brothers and an older sister. People say it's easy being the youngest in the family. Well, I've got news for you. People are wrong. If you are the youngest, you get bossed around. You never win a fight, and your brothers call you warm and shorty, and your parents make you wear baggy hand-me-down clothes and borrow your sister's pink umbrella. At school, I sat in Mrs. Gleason's class, room 201. There were 16 kids in our class, including Mila. It was an okay day for a Monday. During science, we learned about the seashore, and for social studies, we studied Christopher Columbus. Monday was also an art day. I got to draw whatever I wanted. Came up pretty good. Who do you think he drew? Who do you think that is? Mila and I got a chance right before lunch, and it was time for desk work. Miss Gleason was grading papers. We walked up to her desk. Miss Gleason, I said. Miss Gleason looked up and smiled. Yes, what can I do for you two? We really, really, really need to learn about snakes and hamsters, I said. Miss Gleason put down her blue pencil. This sounds serious. It is, Mila answered. Very serious, I whispered. It's a matter of life and death. Miss Gleason put her hands over her mouth, and her eyes got wide. Oh, my goodness. Can you help us? I asked. Well, I'll certainly try, she replied. Miss Gleason looked at the wall clock. In her loud teacher voice, she said, class lunch is in 2 minutes. Please put away your projects and line up on the wall. This is Miss Gleason. This is Jigsaw and Mila. She looked at Charlie Maloney goofing around with Mike Radcliffe. Miss Gleason suddenly looked tired. She pushed the hair away from her face. Without killing each other, she added. Miss Gleason turned back to us. Well, she said, I can think of 2 ways you can find out about hamsters and snakes. How about you? I thought of one, asking you. Miss Gleason smiled. That's a start, Theodore. Now, Theodore is Jigsaw's real name, but he likes to be called Jigsaw because he's a detective. Mila answered, well, you could look in a book or maybe talk to somebody who knows a lot. Yeah, I said, like an expert. Excellent, Miss Gleason said. One of you can go to the library, either here or in school, and I'm sure a librarian can help you find many wonderful books. You might also want to visit the computer room and try searching the internet. Mom can probably take me to the library after school. I frowned. What about me? Well, Theodore, Miss Gleason said, it looks like your job is to find an expert. Oh, brother, I always get the dirty work. That is the end of chapter 3. I wonder where he's going to go and who he's going to find. So before we end, we wanted to talk to you guys about story elements. So story elements, as we've talked about in school, are 3 things: character, setting, and plot. And right here, I have written down, I wonder if I can do this, the names of the characters that we have met so far. Jigsaw Jones is Theodore, Rags is the dog, Wignut O'Brien is Timothy, Mila is his friend, Jake is Wignut's brother, Miss Gleason is the teacher, and Hermie is the golden hamster. Now we're going to have to find out what the setting is. Where does the story take place? And so far, we've come up with some. And the plot or the problem is, where is Hermie? So until tomorrow, there's some things to think about. Goodbye.